Hello Muggles and welcome back to my Harry Potter kitchen, the YouTube series where I am baking my way through the Harry Potter series, creating a recipe for every food and drink item mentioned along the way. It's going to be a tasty journey, so make sure you stick along for the ride. If you missed last week's recipe where we made a brandy cocktail inspired by Uncle Vernon's stressful day at the zoo, then check out the link down in the description to catch up. But it's another Magic Monday, so let's see what's in store for us today. If, like me, you are obsessed with all things Harry Potter and you don't want to miss a thing from my Harry Potter kitchen, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you get an alert every time there is a new video. But without further ado, let's get back into it. Okay, so last week we finished the end of chapter 2 with Harry back in his cupboard thinking about the weird day he's just had, or the strange people that he met that seemed to notice him. So we're going to jump ahead to chapter 3, the letters from no one, which is in the middle of summer now. Harry's just been let out of his cupboard again, and he's thinking about all the fun things he can do away from Dudley's gang. Gone to a date in July where Aunt Petunia is with Dudley in London buying his uniform, and I think we've got our next recipe while Harry is at Mrs Figg's. She let Harry watch television and gave him a bit of chocolate cake that tasted as though she's had it for several years. Well, hopefully my cake will be a little bit fresher. For this recipe, you will need 5 figs, 1 tablespoon of honey, 125 grams of butter, 200 grams of muscovado sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of almond extract, 1 teaspoon of mixed spice, 250 grams of plain flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a pinch of salt, 75 milliliters of oil, and 200 grams of dark chocolate. For the frosting, you will also need 125 grams of mascarpone cheese, 65 grams of icing sugar, 125 milliliters of double cream, half a teaspoon of vanilla, half a teaspoon of almond extract, and then 5 figs and 2 teaspoons of honey for decoration. So I thought a plain chocolate cake might be a little bit boring and not very magical for my Harry Potter kitchen. So we're taking the inspiration from Mrs Figg herself and creating a chocolate fig cake. It's going to be fruity, sweet, but really light and refreshing too, so it is the perfect summer pudding. To begin, we're going to make our fruit filling by dicing our figs. You want to make sure these aren't too ripe, otherwise they won't cut properly. Add your diced figs to a bowl, add in your honey, stir until combined, and then set to the side. For your sponge, you want to add your butter and your sugar into a bowl and then mix on a medium speed until it's light and fluffy. Add in your eggs, extracts, and mixed spice, continuing to beat until smooth. Next, you want to add in your dry ingredients, which are your plain flour, baking powder, and pinch of salt. At this point, you can also slowly pour in your oil. I've gone with a good quality vegetable oil. Keep mixing until it's well combined, but be careful not to overbeat it. The last thing to do is roughly chop your dark chocolate and then add it into the mix along with your figs. Again, gently fold your fillings until just combined. To make this cake a little bit different, we're going to bake it in a rectangle dish. So you want to lightly grease it, line the bottom with baking paper, and then pour your cake mix in. Level it out and then pop it into the oven at 180 degrees to bake for about 35 minutes. Now, although you could serve the cake just as it is out of the oven, and it is pretty good, we're going to take it to the next level by finishing it off with a light and fluffy mascarpone cream cheese that is perfect for summer. For the frosting, place your mascarpone cheese into a bowl along with your icing sugar and beat it on a slow speed until it's nice and whipped. Next, you want to add in your double cream and your extracts and then keep on whisking on a medium speed until it forms soft peaks. It really is as easy as that. Once the cake has cooled, remove it from the tin and then flip it upside down. We're going to use these grooves that are made from the baking tin itself to mark out where the frosting is going to go. Spoon the frosting onto the top and then use a palette knife to spread it around. I've gone with a swirly effect just to give it an added dimension. For a final touch, I've sliced a few more figs and then placed them on top of the cake. Drizzle over a little bit more honey, allowing it to run down the sides, and you're good to go. And we're done! This chocolate fig cake is going to make Mrs Figg the most popular neighbour in town. I hope you enjoyed this cake inspired by the lovely Mrs Figg. I'm not a massive fan of figs on their own, but when you put them into a cake, it makes the sponge really lovely and soft and moist, and it is the perfect dessert to share with the family, so I definitely recommend you give it a go. That is all for this recipe, but if you want to see more, as always, make sure you like, comment and subscribe. See you next week.